aim to motivate and inspire viewers to enjoy the clothes they wear as an expression of their personality and their beliefs. This is the Slow Wardrobe. Come and have a look.
Hello, welcome to episode 53 of the Slow Wardrobe podcast. My name is Linda and I'm your host. As you can see, we are in a very different from usual setting. We're near Walkerburn on the Scottish borders, where I'm having a 1 week break together with my pal after a very, very busy month of September, moving all three of our kids and the cat out of our home and into their own accommodation. Our daughter has moved in with her boyfriend and our cat in a little house in Nottingham, and they're both working there or near Nottingham anyway. And the boys are back to their uni accommodation, sharing houses with friends from their first year of university in Bristol and London, respectively, into their second year of uni. So when we come back from this week, we'll come back to an empty house, and I'm strangely enough quite looking forward to that after a year and a half of pandemic and a very full house on occasion, which we all coped admirably with, I think. But we've been looking forward at having more time with just the two of us and giving the kids more freedom and giving them more of an opportunity to kind of do their own thing, spread their wings, set up life by themselves, for themselves. And I think they've been looking forward to that as well. Although, of course, being in the nest at home with mum and dad is kind of easy, especially for boys. So I think they'll have an interesting learning curve there. So far, I've been sent little video messages and photographs of home cooked meals. So they're doing really well so far. Keep it up, boys. Very good. All right. So, like I said, a very different setting. No yarns behind me, and I am sporting the sample, like a first toile, I think you can call it, of the Layercake dress with sleeves that is coming this coming month in October. So this is a first sample. We think we may have cracked the age-old problem of creating a dress for women who have more curvy bodies than the one that I have and the one that a lot of our layer cakes are based on. So if you are of a set of proportions that doesn't wear the current layer cakes particularly well because you need more shaping around the bust, then we think this may be the first dress for you. However, more about that later. In this episode, I will give you a short update on my knitting, what have I been working on these last 2 weeks, and then I hope, if the weather permits, to shoot some footage of me wearing the new dress with a couple of other layer cake garments, a couple of styling ideas, first styling ideas, but really it's a sneak peek of the dress. It is in the color Magpie. As you can see, it's got on me 3/4 length sleeves. But if you are a lot smaller than I am, a lot shorter than I am, then of course this will all sit slightly differently and the sleeves may be longer on you. We've made them in such a way that they can be worn really well with the shirt underneath, and then you can fold over the cuffs of the shirt over the top of the dress sleeves. More about that later. But for now, let me start with a quick knitting update. So what have I been knitting on? Well, it's almost exclusively the jumper that I started a couple of weeks ago. I started knitting it on my trusted 3.5 millimeter signature needles, circular needles. They are interchangeable circulars. But the ongoing problem that I keep having with the signature needles is that eventually the place where the cables are lovely and supple, but where the cable attaches to the metal of the base of the tip of the needle, so where the cable attaches to the metal base, that's where the cable will slowly sever and ultimately snap. My favorite cables in the world are the Chaogu lace cables, because they have a metal wire inside the plastic and they just hold up so well for my type of knitting. And then of course I remembered that the very sadly late Lynn Roberts, a beautiful jeweler who I met at many a yarn show, made silver needles, sterling silver needles that attach to my favorite Chaogu cables. So I owned one pair of these sterling silver needles that I had bought from Lynn directly a couple of years ago at Yarndale. And I remembered that Millie from Tribe Yarns used to sell some of Lynn's silver items as well. So I quickly went over to Millie's website and saw that she had a pair of the 3.5mm needles in stock still. Sadly, the 3.25mm ones were all gone. Otherwise, I would have nabbed those as well. These are, well, as far as I know, the most expensive needles I know, but they are absolute heaven for me to knit with that cable that I like so much, of course, being a favorite. But then they are nice and pointy sticks. They're not quite as sharp as the signatures, but for this project, that's actually quite good. So at the point where I have that first complementary color coming in for a couple of rows, that's when I changed from my signatures to the silver ones, and really I haven't looked back. Love the needles. So in terms of where I am with this jumper, I will try and hold it up. It has a number of short rows in the back. So what I'm showing you here is the back with the sleeves. I've literally just separated for the sleeves, and you can, even though I haven't transferred the stitches that I have on the needle at the moment onto a longer cable, you can see that this is a very oversized jumper, which I love. If I turn it around, you can see that the front is slightly shorter. Here's the back. Front is slightly shorter than the back because of the short rows that it has at the top around the neck area. So it's going to have a loose neckline like that, and then the sleeves coming down. This looks quite fitted, but it's not. Trust me, it's a very oversized jumper, and it's knitted in a rib, a broken rib. So you can see here, that's a combination of 3 knits and then 1 pearl knit rib. So you knit 1 row and you purl that particular stitch on the next round, so then you get that nice knobbly effect. And without giving away all the secrets of the pattern, once you've had that first section of your complementary color, then the rib pattern changes. So the jumper has 2 complementary colors. That first one that I'm showing you is Bitter Lime, Yak Blend 2 in Bitter Lime, that I've knit together with my linen yarn in pink, the linen 3-ply. The entire jumper is knitted with holding 2 strands together, 1 strand of the linen 3-ply in pink, and the other strand is a strand of Araucania botany lace that I bought years ago with the idea of dyeing it. But it's actually really good color for me to wear, and I've gotten used now to wearing bright pink, so I'm using it as is. It's almost identical to the linen color. It's the Araucania has got slightly more blue in it, but they're very close and they work beautifully together. So what I'm doing throughout is when I'm changing colors for the main color, the pink botany lace, then I will keep knitting with the pink strand of linen. So my first complementary color is the Yak Blend 2 in Bitter Lime, held together with the pink linen. And then the second complementary color that is going to come in much further down. If I can, I will show you here a picture of what the original jumper looks like. So you can see that the first two sections with a line, that red line that is in my case the bitter lime, and then that second line of bitter lime, and then beyond that is going to be this yarn in my case, which is an old yarn, a deep stash. It's in a very high twist, so it almost looks rope-like. Can you see that? It's got the right kind of yardage, and again I'm going to hold it together with the pink linen. It's got the bitter lime color in it, and it's got the bright pink in it as well. You can just see that with that bit here sticking out, and then also purple and a really nice kind of spruce green. So I think it'll work really well as a complementary color at the bottom. And I'm knitting away at it. It's got, because it's so oversized, it's got a huge number of stitches. It had, I think, more than 600 stitches just before I split off for the sleeves. And now I think I'm down to 400 stitches. And I've actually been knitting on this, standing at the bank of the river. Peter, my other half, is doing some fly fishing here and some salmon fishing, which is very exciting. I absolutely adore being on the bank of a river. I love that he enjoys the fishing so much, and I really enjoy doing that together with him. I don't think there is much in the world that makes me feel kind of plugged into life and nature in general as being on the bank of a river that flows by. You know how some people say like, oh, I just connect when I see the sea? Well, I have that feeling of connection when I see a river flow by. It doesn't have to be, you know, a cascading, crazy stream. It's just flowing water by in a river. Oh my goodness, I find that extremely calming. It nurtures my soul. So for a week away, it's perfect for us. Now, this of course is getting quite heavy. So what I'm doing when I'm knitting, standing and knitting, is I hook the opposite side of the jumper, the cable, I hook it onto my pinky finger like this. I just let it hang there, and that takes the weight off my needles, and then it becomes very easy for me to knit. So that's how I stand knitting by the side of the river, with the work just literally hanging off my hands. And I go probably at about half the speed here to what I normally would achieve when I'm sitting down knitting. But hey, it's progress, right? And I don't really have to look at what I'm doing. I can just kind of go with it and look at what's happening on the river. So progress even on the riverbank. And because it's a big knit and it's going to take a lot of time, I'm thrilled that I can work on it this way. The other piece that I brought with me, just in case it was going to be too much to try and hold up my jumper knitting on the riverbank, is a pair of socks that you've seen many a time because I'm not knitting on it very much. At least I have finally turned the heel. It is the sock blank that I've shown you a couple of times already, that I bought quite a while ago in these nice light colors. And see how they knit up, guys. It just looks gorgeous. I'm really pleased with that. So I've only done, truth be told, I've only done a handful of rows on this, or rounds on this, the foot of the sock on the first day that we were here. and I thought maybe that jumper is a bit much, so I didn't have the confidence to take that to the river, and I took this instead and just did a little bit of work on it in one of Trava and Wool Susanna's gorgeous little project bags that all embroidered chamomile flowers on Layercake Linen yarn. So I'm hoping she'll be able to do some more for me. I've had a couple of batches of these from her, but she's doing those on top of her regular ones that she does for her own web shop. And of course, these are very labor intensive. So hopefully I'll get some more. If I do, then you'll be the first to know. And that's it for knitting. Oh, I'll show you the 3 colors of the jumper together. So it's the bright pink, the bitter lime, and then the multi that comes in at the bottom. And I love the strength of the bitter lime, even though it's a relatively narrow band in the totality of the pink of the jumper. That's the other thing that I wanted to say. It's working really well, I think. So that's it for the knitting update. At the next podcast, I'll be back at the studio with the normal backdrop that you're used to from me in grey shot at my little studio. One other thing to mention before we dive into hopefully some nice Layercake footage, and that is that I am here at the Scottish borders, which means that I am not at Yarndale this coming weekend. However, there is a small presence of Layercake on the 5 Moons stand at Yarndale. As you may know, 5 Moons, Sharon sells her yarns through the Slow Wardrobe website rather than having a standalone website. And when we do shows, when we did them, we started doing them together in the past. That, of course, went by the wayside with the pandemic. And at the moment, because we're not out of the woods yet with the pandemic, I am not confident bringing Layercake to a show near you and giving the opportunity for you to try it on. And I think it's very unfair to expect people to buy Layercakes without giving them the chance to try them. So that is partially why I won't be at Yarndale yet. But the Layercake gradients, like this new one, Magpie, so that's a new gradient that has the colors that are in this dress, in the linen of this dress, that will be available at Yarndale on the 5 Moons stand, together with all the other linen gradients, a selection of kits, the Yak Blend 2 yarn, which goes beautifully with one of Sharon's Yak Blend bases, so they work very well together, is going to be on the stand as well as a sample of this dress, so you can have a look at the Magpie color in real life. It's the tulip dress with sleeves. You'll see it in the next section. So apologies for not being there in person, and if you are keen on seeing the Magpie gradient or any of the Layercake gradients, go and have a look. In general, go and have a look at the 5 Moons yarns. They are wonderful. Sharon has been dying her heart out the last couple of weeks and has got some really, really beautiful new shades of yarn on her stand. Zoe is going to be there as well with patterns and new designs for Nickety Witch. She's called on social media. You may know her, and have a look at what they have in store for you. It's going to be lush on that stand. And I will see you again soon. Now over to Layercake.
So here I am on the bank of the River Tweed, showing you the new Layercake dress. I hope you enjoyed that. And here I am now on the banks of the River Tweed, giving you a sneak peek of the new Layercake dress. I'm hobbling around on stones, so forgive me for the clumsy movements. Showing off sleeves. So this is the tulip dress that you all know and love, but with 3/4 length sleeves. I'm trying to control my hair here, completely impossible. And I'm going to show you a little bit of the landscape around the area where we shot this as well. Husband is doing the honors with the camera, my trusty cameraman. And so this is the River Tweed. This is where we do the fishing that we do when we come here. And here I am back again. Now showing you that if you put a regular tulip dress over the top of the new to be introduced dress, it works perfect with the sleeves that the new dress has. So I'm going to build up some layer cakes. Underneath the new dress, I'm wearing a play suit, which was a bit of a trial because I wanted to see whether play suits can be made out of the herringbone linen. The herringbone linen isn't really strong enough for play suits because of the back seam. Same goes for things like the dresses and the tunics. So that's why we've stuck to baggies and dusters for the herringbone fabric. And there's a new garment coming later on. I'll show you in a minute. Meanwhile, I have put a step top over the top of the ochre dress that I'm showing you. It says a small step top. And now I'm tying the shawl that I made recently, the pressed flower shawl, just to kind of dress up the whole outfit and show you how it works when you build up a layer cake, to add more layers and make sure that you stay warm when the weather gets cooler. So we were very lucky with the weather. Apart from the fact that it was very windy, the temperature was absolutely lovely. That's why we took the opportunity to show this footage, to show layer cake on location by the banks of the Tweed. So meanwhile, I have changed my outfit here and showing the same dress again, but now with a long sleeve t-shirt underneath and a pair of the pink herringbone baggies. This particular color of the dress is the new dress in the color Magpie. And Magpie is a blend of black and a dark blue, like I showed you in the first section of the video, that we have a gradient in the 3-ply as well. And now I've added one of the little scarfies. This is the Dunboard scarf in the pink and pomegranate check that I have crocheted some yellow lines on and attached some yellow little tassels to. I showed you that in one of the previous episodes. And here is the dress again, but this time with a pair of the black herringbone baggies. Nearly lost my footing again there. And I'm going to put the step top back on. So the step top in the Magpie, that is another new garment for this autumn. And I will announce in one of the newsletters when it's available for either pre-order or purchase this coming autumn. And as you can see, the small step top here worn with the new dress in Magpie, and that's the dress in the regular length. Now, an exciting bit of news with the new dress is that we're going to do it in a shorter length still. So this kind of length that you see, the regular dress length of the tulip dress on me, that kind of length and that kind of proportion will be achieved with an even shorter dress that we're going to introduce. So we're going to add a petite length to this dress. Meanwhile, I have put on a large step top. It's a different variant of the step top because this is made completely out of double linen. The outside of this is in this steel linen, and I'm about to show you the fact that it's completely double-sided. It is lined in a linen that is a stripy version of the two colors that make up Magpie. So they are fabulous to wear together. And the way we're going to make these tops is that you can see the edges of the lighter color from the other side when you turn it inside out, and it makes it a really effective outfit to wear together. So I literally cobbled these outfits together with what I brought with me on our week away to the Scottish borders, and it's given you hopefully an exciting sneak peek of some of the layer cakes that are to come this autumn. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon.